Welcome to Talk with TAS. I'm Dr. Teresa A. Smith, Dr. TAS, and Talk with TAS is a show that I created some time ago that allows me to interface with experts from across the globe who are making an impact in their community. And sometimes those individuals are educators like we have today. Sometimes they are performers, authors, business owners, entrepreneurs, but it's all about what expertise can they bring to the audience that's going to make a difference. And so today we're talking about how we can make our schools healthier. And when we talk about healthy schools, we're not just talking about the schools, we're talking about the students, we're talking about the families, we're talking about the community and the employees of the schools. Because when you bring all of those pieces together, then you have that healthy school culture. And so I have three wonderful guests with me today. I have Dr. William Hesse. I refer to him as Shane. He's been on my platform before, and his focus is health and wellness and physical education. He's a 20-year vet in education. He's been recognized with numerous awards. He's making a footprint in Arizona, even with the legislators there. He's been recognized as Teacher of the Year. In addition, he is an assistant professor at Arizona State University. Also, we have Matthew Gilbert. Matthew is he's an adjunct instructor, but he's also an assistant principal. And Matthew, like all of us, is concerned about ensuring that our students are successful. And so he actively mentors students and teachers, encouraging a positive and engaging learning environment. Diana, pronounce your last name for me.
Leivas.
Leivas. Diana Leivas is an educator. She's fairly new to education, but she's still tried and true. While she was at the University of Ottawa, she co-founded the SOAR program. And basically this program, to Kai Shane, thank you for, I'm glad you're back with us. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. And so Diana was part of the leadership team that created the SOAR program at the University of Ottawa. And so what those students did was they recognized the importance of physical education and health and wellness for students. And so they went into the elementary schools and mentored those students, having a huge impact on how they did academically as well as socially. So today, I want to welcome everybody to the platform. We're going to reset and take a breath because, technology is always interesting. But Shane, where are you at? Is that a real background behind you?
It is. It's not AI generated. I'm out in Granbury, Texas right now.
Well, I'm shaking my head because you're in the right place. I'm looking at your background and I'm saying reset, and you've already reset for us because we've got this beautiful view behind you. So thank you, Shane, for bringing us this beautiful view
Well,
today.
thank you. It's good to reset your minds all the time. That's kind of what we're here to do as well.
Oh,
So appreciate you.
absolutely. Absolutely. As I was saying, Shane, you're no stranger to my platform. You've been on before, and your people are still talking about the gentleman from Arizona and telling me that they agree with what you said. So I want us to kind of bring everybody else who's joining us for the first time and those who are going to be listening to the replay, bring them up to speed. Now, you created, along with colleagues, the ultimate guide to best practices for creating healthy learning cultures, which is a valuable resource for schools, communities, parents, and students. Can you share what inspired you to create the guide and how it has impacted the schools and communities that you've worked with?
The inspiration came from people like yourself and Diana. It's on the line, and Mr. Gilbert, and educators across the country that really wanted to make an impact on the whole child approach to education, because there's so much more than a test score. That's the impact reason, my why. Besides, when I became a father, to be able to see that my own kids were going to live shorter lifestyles, it really came evident that from the beginning to end, and you'll hear Diana's story today, how it came full circle. But as you continue to see that development from a child in, say, second grade to sixth grade to eighth grade, and what you're going to see is um, Diana's graduated college this year, and she's able to not only design a program like this, but all my colleagues, including yourself, Dr. Taz, the stories and the impact and the amount of work we put in to make our community better. That really is our why behind this. It's a very innovative approach to enhancing the healthy lifestyle for children these days to become what Diana is today. So I'm excited to share more with you guys, and I see Mr. Gilbert made it on, so we're ready.
Absolutely. Welcome, Matthew. We're glad to see you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, Diana, since Shane mentioned your story, would you give us the Cliff Notes version of your story so we can use that perhaps as a backdrop for our conversation today?
Of course. Yeah, so growing up, sports was very important to me, and I had a lot of amazing mentors and teachers along the way. And so last year I started my student teaching, and I was with first grade, and I would play with them at recess a lot, and it was so important to them, and they loved it every day. They would ask me, like, are you gonna play with me today? And so I joined a sports programming class at Ottawa with Dr. Hesse, and he wanted to make a program that impacted our community. And I was like, well, we have a very high population of athletes at Ottawa, and I thought it would be a great idea for us to come and interact with the students at recess, since I know how impactful it was when I was doing it.
And so now, did you, so that was the beginnings of the creation of the SOAR program.
Exactly.
And so now, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so we got together with the class and we pitched it to a few schools. We got to take some needs assessment to see what they exactly needed, and we integrated the SOAR program at 2 schools.
Now, as far as the SOAR program, tell us a little bit about the program. So was it just the athletes going in, working with the students during recess, or was there a structured program that you guys were using?
Yeah, so, oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, let me start. I'll preface it, and then you can kind of bring it into the admin or your viewpoint. But Dr. Taz, the opening part of this was just our ability to transform traditional recreation and sport and recess periods into structured, engaging, and educational sessions where young student athletes learn sports, teamwork, and the sportsmanship from college athletes. This initiative was designed in multiple objectives: reducing discipline of referrals, fostering positive social interactions, and providing valuable mentorship opportunities. And with the collaboration of the administration at the Kingswood Elementary School with Mr. Gilbert, with our soaring students like Diana Leivas, this is kind of where we took it. And so, Diana, take it from here. But I wanted to preface kind of the mindset of the college professor bringing it, full circle with you guys, and it really was a collaborative approach. And the successes are what you're going to hear from Mr. Gilbert, what those are.
Before you come in, Dan, let me back up just a moment, Shane, because you're setting up something I think the audience needs to know, to be clear on it. Some of us have this idea like when we were in school, and we had recess, but it wasn't. We may have learned how to play softball. We may have played, some basketball. There may have been some games that we played, but when you talk about recess, what I'm hearing is something that's much more structured, that is building skills, as you indicated, leadership skills, self-regulation skills, that's going to motivate students. It's going to help them with the emotional regulation. I'm hearing something totally different. And I wonder if we need to level set so that parents and those who will watch this on the replay understand or listen to it, understand what we're talking about when we're saying recess, because everybody understands recess from their perspective. And what you're talking about, what happened with the SOAR program, is much more than kids just running and, getting some of their energy out. You're talking about something that is going to support them physically, but also supports their academic attainment. So could you explain recess for us a little bit better?
Yeah, I'll segue that into our experts here as well. But the SOAR student-oriented approach to recess, you could also change that into recreation and sport, depending on your modality. But the initiative aims to alleviate the burden on school administrators, and that's really the conversation that Diana and myself and Mr. Gilbert had at the beginning, as well as teachers who often spend significant time managing recess-related issues. So think about structured activities led by trained volunteers and school staff that expect a more positive recess environment, and we're able to provide that overall school climate through the focus with student athletes here in our local community. So the presence of these college athletes provided a dual benefit of mentorship, inspiration, and the K-8 students that we worked with, they looked up to these athletes and guidance and encouraged a healthier, more active lifestyle while fostering positive relationships, aspiration to get to higher education. For some of them, it was the first time that they got an idea of what higher education meant for this family, as well as being able to play in athletics at the next level. The program was unique because it came from our classroom to another classroom in the community. But they did, you're right, they developed leadership skills, engaged in community service, and built meaningful relationships and connections with our younger peers. I heard from my athletes, since we've been doing this for about a year now, that and this is the most impactful part, I think, for myself, my big aha moment was, Dr. Hesse, that was me when I was in third grade.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that is very impactful, because being able to see themselves, and then for some, they had those internal home or external or internal school supports, but for so many, they didn't have that. And now to be able to go back and provide that for future generations is very impactful. Diana, so now, Dr. Hesse has set it up for us. So you guys were in the schools working with a structured program, working with students in a K-8 school.
Exactly. So we would split up and we would go to recess. It would be like a group of 10 of us, and we'd have different activities to offer for the students. So we'd be doing basketball, soccer, even just playing with them at the playground. It was a lot of different activities to structure the recess and to give opportunities for the students to interact with college students and be inspired. It was also amazing too that we did it with Ottawa, because we have such a diverse population of students. We have a lot of international students. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's very important and awesome that the students got to see just like a lot of diversity mm-hmm. among the people that were coming in. And so I think that was more inspiring to see, like, role models like themselves, or like they can see themselves going to college and having good role models in front of them. But yeah, it's really been a full circle moment for me now, being a first year teacher and seeing how unstructured recess truly is, because I mean, it's like a free for all. Students are, if there's a ball, they get to play basketball. If not, they get to make up their own games. But I've noticed that there can be so much conflict from mm-hmm. such an unstructured recess time. Mm-hmm. So it's really amazing to see when SOAR comes, the program and the students come to our recess, and the difference that it really is from being non-structured to structured.
And it's good that you can see the difference now, because you guys went in when you were still in school. In college, everything was structured, but now being in the school, seeing the difference. And that brings me to you, Matthew. You're an assistant principal, so I'm make sure I'm tracking everything. So was one of the sites your school that the SOAR program was able to be implemented? Now tell us why you were open to this. What was it that you saw as far as your school needs and thought that the SOAR program could be an answer?
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a great opportunity, and I was driving to school, and as the assistant principal, one of my main roles is discipline and helping with that process. And through that, I was driving to school one day, and I was like, we need to figure out this unstructured time. What are we going to do? How are we? Because I'm seeing a ton of referrals come in, and I know our students need something. So I was driving to school, and I saw a flyer that Dr. Hesse and Miss Leivas created. And that kind of opened up the doors for us to have a conversation and bring in the University of Ottawa. We started with 5 or 6 Ottawa students coming out to recess, and now in the last week, we've had over 80 Ottawa students on our campus impacting the things that we are doing at Kingswood. So it was it came at the right time, and it was something that we needed, and we are seeing both the benefits because we've had the opportunity to hire great teachers such as Ms. Leivas to come aboard and now be a part of our staff while making an impact in the classroom and during that truly that, like she said, the unstructured, structured time, because we want our kids to play, but they also need to know how to play. And we've seen a reduction in referrals. We've seen an increase in mentorship, and just the climate and culture on our campus has been impacted greatly through this partnership and relationship that we have.
Well, now, Matthew, we've seen a decrease in referrals. I don't know if attendance was an issue that your school was facing, but has the attendance improved also? Because I'm thinking about all the wonderful things that we talked about, the diversity, the leadership, the mentorship. And in my mind, it's like, oh, this is a great thing. So kids are going to want to come to school, which is so important for academics.
Yeah, over the last 2 years and the year that we've been working with the University of Ottawa, we've seen a steady increase in our attendance preschool through 8th grade. And we're over 92% of our students being there each and every day. And one of the other things that we're trying to track as well is teacher attendance as well. And we don't have a lot of teachers taking days off, especially when the University of Ottawa is on campus, because it's their opportunity to work with student athletes from the University of Ottawa coming into their classroom and seeing them at recess. So it's been across our campus. It's not just with students, but it's also with our staff.
Now, and that is wonderful. Now, Matthew, I'm just overwhelmed, and I don't know which way to go. I'm overwhelmed, but my question is, because I got to think like an educator, I got to think like a school counselor, a social worker, a teacher, and we need this in our schools. How were you able to sell it? Because I know you've said that with the students, the college athletes being there, there's been a decrease in discipline referrals. And when you talk about that unstructured time, I understand as a former K-12 educator how unstructured time can really be unstructured time, I'll say it that way, meaning that kids really get in trouble, and it's referral after referral after referral. So, and I know that other schools are trying to figure out how they can decrease referrals at the same time, increase students' attendance, increase their achievement. So how were you able to sell this program to your administrator? In North Carolina, we refer to it as our school improvement plan. So that school improvement committee, to your teachers, to your parents, how are you able to sell this idea that this program could help you guys as it related to students? How are you able to do that?
Yeah, it's a pretty easy sell once you start talking, especially, working with my principal last year and our principal this year, because it's tangible. You see the data, you see the students, you see the interaction, you see things happening. And then the data just backs it up, because through the decrease in referrals, and then we have positive referrals, and you can feel the energy on our campus. And when the University of Ottawa students speak, that lends, because our principal and our administration, they're there and they're watching the University of Ottawa students speak as well, and it's very moving and it's very powerful with some of the things that they're doing and the connections that they've made. Because, like Dr. Hesse said and Ms. Leivas said, they remember when they were that age. They remember that grade. They remember being that student. And then now you're talking about their impact and their mentorship through that. So I don't really think it was a sell. I think it's just us continuing to grow the program. And then, like I said, we started with 5 or 6, and now we're up to 80. And it's just going to continue to grow. And we're making impacts in different classrooms now, with some adaptive PE, movement-driven learning, and all the other things that we're trying to bring to the campus. So we are truly K-8, and we are truly all-inclusive of everything that we're doing.
Well, now, Shane, when you guys were, thank you, Matthew. Shane, when you guys were developing the program, what did you see the role of the teachers in the program? Because we knew that the students, the college students, were going to go out to the campuses, elementary schools, and work with the students. What did you see the role of the teachers being to support the program and the college students?
I'd like to share the mindset through the college professor lens, and then I think if we had the mindset through administrator and then actually with Ms. Leivas as my student at the time and now a teacher, I think this might bring it a more comprehensive, full circle approach, if that's okay with you.
Oh, absolutely.
My thought as the professor was, I can only guide and teach you so many times in a classroom, and how can we do exploratory phases and implementation in a live setting, and then get my students on board to creating something that they believed in, that they were able to go out and flourish. And then being prior to my college experience, I was a classroom teacher and administrator. I knew the importance and connection that could be built with the right mindset through leadership, right? So think about building and supporting whole child educational outcomes through physical activity while encouraging social interactions. And like Mr. Gilbert said, inclusivity, not just students learning physical skills, but a whole child approach. And so my mindset was, because I teach a multitude of classes, and that stems from theory and leadership, administration, physical education methods, adaptive physical education. And so to be able to bring this all full circle and in a multitude of areas, it's really been a nice arena to not only show our college, but hopefully we could show other colleges and then other elementary schools, other teachers that, hey, we can do this. And we did put that in the Healthy Learning Cultures Guide. If anybody wants more information on it, we can do that. But I wanted to set that up through my lens, because I think when you see it through the other two, you'll kind of understand how this all came together. And I don't think any one of us three could have done it without one of the other person, because it was such a team effort, and it still is today. But Diana's story she'll share next is truly inspirational.
Through a college student point of view, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, yeah. So it was so amazing being in that class, having Hesse as my professor, because he really allowed us to come up with the program and do it on our own. And I thought that was an amazing opportunity for not just me, but all the students in my classroom to be leaders and be mentors, especially role models to these students during recess. And it's just been amazing, especially like interacting with the students. It was so fun, like to be like to play and be a kid again, and to even teach these students about sports and about college and how important they are.
Diana, now give me that perspective now that you are a teacher. How do you see your role now as a teacher?
As a teacher, I think the program really helps me as a teacher, because it I mean, we haven't talked about this, but not only do we interact at recess, but we also do movement-driven learning, which happens in the classroom. And those are like brain breaks, kind of, but involving movement. So SOAR program has been coming into my class, and my students have been so excited to do those activities, and to have a break out of your seat and to play a game but still involve learning, and to have a bunch of college students in your class and like making it fun. So I love it because I get to step back for a little bit and allow them to have a moment and be inspired as well.